beautiful Virgo. Thank you so much for last month. I feel that you really touched many people's lives with what you do and who you are and how truthful you are inside. And whatever you've learned in this life or however you have understood the voyage of space and time is, it's yours. But what you've done is incredible. I feel for me, as I've had a couple of Virgo friends last month affect me a lot through their heart space and their intuitive way with the world, the intuitive way of dealing with things, the intuitive way of understanding and structuring things as so. And sometimes, with us people with a lot of Virgo in our chart, we don't quite yet maybe know things, but if we are sure, we're sure. And it doesn't really matter sometimes if we get it right. But it does. It does. And sometimes we can be unsure also as we are coming out of September. We might see, I've said a few truths and a few untruths. Did I program my reality correctly, colorfully? Did I connect the right dreams? Did I say the right thing? Or did I make the right choice? And this is really hard to see sometimes in you guys because you might have and you might not have. It's just too late now. And that's a weird feeling because you might have had a lot of worth and speech in the last while. You might have had an incredible potential open. And you might have had to fix and say a few things. And you might have been a little bit abrupt. So basically what I'm saying is, in the month of September, actually from about the month of June, you might have become a little bit more loose in the tongue. So you might have been a little bit more clear about what you want and what you expect, and you might have decided to create a little bit of a spectacle of yourself, perhaps in September, as we finally coaxed you into being yourself. And as I said in September, we had a really nice new moon, a black moon in your sign. We had a very nice opportunity to listen into you and to specifically ask you for what you think we want or what you think we should do, because you're an incredible dreamer. As us, we don't quite understand, but you are actually an incredible coach and an incredible healer. It's just that sometimes you do what you do without really contributing to yourself and without really showing yourself your true colors. And here you've done it. So in September, in the last part of September especially, you might have been a little bit more loose in your tongue or loose with your time, being able to show people more about yourself, being able to play ball, being able to be free, being able to be out, being able to be careless and saying, actually, yeah, I think that person is this, and I actually believe this person is that. Well done, good for you. However, how we've come to be in October now is basically been in a great sense your choice. If you've done a few things in September, consider this, that sometimes your story or your weaving or your thoughts or your ideas or your situation or how you have vibrated or what you've pushed through, what you've pushed under, what you've pushed behind, neither here or there, how you've structured your reality, and especially how you've structured your mind about us, what you've been thinking and especially saying to people, has become norm. So whatever you've done is a very, very healing thing. I feel that you've pushed a couple of people around maybe, or perhaps you haven't. Maybe you've been very, very detached and sort of disassociated from people. But I feel that the ear to the wall was always there. So it feels to me that you've done an incredible job of this powerful moon in your first house. I feel you've done an incredible job of this opportunity to fix and change and shift space and time, as I didn't actually have that to say to you in the previous month before, but I feel that you've done it. And this is why it was really important to just talk about you. Because what happens sometimes with Virgos is that when they start pointing fingers at people and they get really confident, and when they get confident, life sometimes hits back and then they become really, really harsh and very small. So with Virgo, from what I've seen on my end and in a few different instances, is with Virgo, we had to hear about you, we had to touch you, we had to understand you, we had to be sharing you. Last month in September, we had to understand what you're about, what your story is. We didn't really have you as a coach yet, as a life coach. We connected to you as almost like a beacon of you. as you had to talk about you, or had to just become more you. And we kind of understood, I feel, later in the month that you weren't about it yet. You weren't really about you. It was more about things getting done, things being efficient, things being said, things being put. But a few Virgos have done it, and it feels to me that a few of you definitely have created a better you and not a better somebody else. So fixing mistakes, tasking, troubleshooting, managing, all of that stuff, delegating other people's moral states, delegating what other people are and who other people should be, wasn't really yours. But it became that, because I feel that there's been a few of you guys wanting to do that, or wanting to kind of step over the fence and look down to another person's yard. But if you haven't done that, and you've been totally yourself, and you've just been doing your thing, and you've been trying to get as much you as possible, or you've been trying to get your head out of your butt instead of another person's, kudos to you. You might see the result. You might already see the result. If you are a Virgo, if you are somebody, although it really doesn't matter because reality goes in forms, so whatever most of you guys have done is what most of you guys have created for the all things for you. But if you are somebody who's tried to be yourself and just tried to be unashamedly however you've come to be, and if you really wanted to try and make your point, your interest and your understanding of yourself, and you really wanted to concentrate on who you are and who you've been and who you've come to be through time and space, awesome. You might get the result, and it might be not that exciting maybe, but you sometimes might see, like, say for example, if you exercise a lot and you look inwards and you just think about yourself in that moment, you might gain a lot of muscle very easy. Or say if you are talking to someone but you are talking about yourself and you're giving advice from what you know, not what you think moralistically, you might see that you gain a friend. If you are not somebody that tries to portray any kind of deeper truth, but sort of like just talks crap and just becomes more silly and less meaningful on the global scale, if you keep it small and keep it light, you might actually have found that there's been a few people that just turned around. Or you might have found that a few people were really aggravated by you because they usually expect you to be incredibly knowing, intelligent, diligent, and moralistic. So when you are there, you perhaps have already started reaping the benefits of where you've been this last month. And this might be very easy. You might actually find suddenly your financial situation stabilizes. One of the simplest way to tell. You might actually find that money becomes easily negotiable, and it's almost right there. You might find that there is a lot of people that are just kind of like coming up to you and just saying, hey, kudos to you. You might find that people in your home, in your bedroom, or your secret garden aren't really what they seem. And this is an interesting part of the story, is because you might have unraveled yourself to the last degrees of Virgo. You might have thought, okay, I understand now. Oh, okay. And you might actually have such a deeper meaning of who you are and who you were through your moral dilemmas gone, meaning through your clear understanding of you without having to dip too far into the collective mind. If you kept yourself, how can I say, humbled and kind of tight, almost like in an airtight container with who you were and what you were about, wow. And I'm seeing that. I have no idea what you guys have done. I mean, I have Mars and Venus conjunct in Virgo, almost Venus. And I've actually noticed for myself, going inwards and trying to sort my head out in September wasn't just for me. I feel it was like almost like a global energy that just took over. It was crazy. And this is not maybe something interesting or epic in the end as a result, but I've lost many friends that I didn't need. I've cleansed my body so much more than I've had before. I've done so much more commitment to myself physically, and it just became really clear of what I was doing that wasn't worthy of my time and where my energy can't go anymore. Maybe for yourself it's something else, but really try to see the point. And it could be a small result, but a small result for Virgos is a contracted energy. Virgo is small. Because the contracted energy is actually incredibly powerful. So when you have done the work for yourself, or when you have done something just for you, in a month of September, or if you opened up with people and become more yourself and just more obvious about what you're about, you might see either things shedded or things accumulated or became very acute and then resolved. And it might be something small, but it's like, oh, I can digest meat now. Or it could be like, oh, I can actually feel a lot better, like when I'm running. Or it could be something very, very small, like, well, yeah, but then the person that came over to my house that usually leaves after the first 10 minutes of talking to me actually stuck around, and we became really, really openly, like, good friends after that. If you are feeling like, oh, wow, there is a change, it isn't there yet. Not until, actually I'm feeling August next year, but this is a slow process. I feel that what you've created in the month of September with your experiences and your truth and your moral dilemmas gone, so your connection to your heart and your true space, or not, has created a result. And this is not good for some, and it is great for others. It might be very small at this point, but in the next few months it will develop. So for example, you've been very clear in what you want, and you've decided to get yourself straight and clear and no longer wanting to experience social vulnerability, for example. It might be that you have a couple more friends that you never had, you know, the types of people you never had. In the next month, you might resolve it and feel like they're just people. I mean, I never had these types of friends before, like say they're in the music industry or the beauty industry, never had these types of people before. They're kind of great, they're interesting, and then eventually it might evolve into a whole new scene for you. So by September next year, you might have a whole new club, like a whole new club of friends. But it has to be worked on if you like it, for example. And another thing that could have happened is you could have had a minor dispute with somebody that could become major later. I had a couple as well. So basically, if you have a dispute with somebody in September, sometimes it can catch momentum if you don't resolve it. For example, if you've had a dispute with a loved one, or you spoke your truth or your feelings or something about you, or you just moralistically pushed them up against the wall and said, look, buddy, I know. It is a very nice idea to forgive and forget, and as much as you can, praise that person when they come into your mind. That's the evil stuff. The evil stuff is, how can I say, within these little tiffs we can have when we're feeling powerful as Virgo, like when we're feeling just justified and just up to date with things, feeling good. The little thoughts and the little tiffs that we can have with people sometimes during this time, they last and they can snowball. For example, I had a run-in with my brother, who's a Virgo as well, and I got really angry at him. And he's going to, I feel, increasingly make me feel eventually, as we share space and time energetically because we're related, more and more in ease if I can forgive him. So I have to constantly forgive my brother. So by the end of September 2018, I've got a new brother maybe, or a new friend, or a new possibility, a new basic blueprint for my relationships and my friendships with men. So that might be interesting to also see that if you ever had a tiff during September, and especially this year, this September, you might actually find that the universal laws are really, really harsh on you later in life, Virgo, if you don't just let it go and pray and become neutral about it, especially if you said something wrong. It may also be that the word that you said to another person, just one or two words, can work against you. For example, if you call somebody a name, as I have done as well, actually, you might want to become that name or understand what that name means. So if you called somebody psychotic, you might want to understand what the world is, what that word is, what is psychotic, and you might want to backtrack on some things and not say any more about that person or even about the experience, but each time they come into your mind, say thank you, thank you, thank you, especially if you abuse somebody. Thank you, I'm sorry. And I've had that happen quite a lot because Virgo is my 12th house. So have a look. If you're a Virgo, if you've got a lot of Virgo in you, a stellium and Virgo, if you've been a little bit on edge or if you flew off the handle, because sometimes you get the power of attorney, and this is where you've had it last month, try to sit with it and try to mellow it down, try to mild it down, and try to ask for no more. And a new thing that's coming to me, I feel, is that October will shine. October will shine just brace yourself, okay? What I mean is brace yourself, because sometimes when we've done something really minor in September, in the last few months leading up to the birthday of Virgo, they can be a big response back. For instance, you've had some trouble with a friend and you had a big fight and you're still with it, you're still thinking about it, and you're still angry about it. It can come back a big thing. For example, you had a big fight with someone next door, with your neighbor, and you told them off for the loud music. In October, November, especially 2 months later, as we truly have a Jupiter in Scorpio, they might come back with a bat and bash in your windows in your car. That kind of thing can happen. So the point is not to be afraid. The point is to neutralize everything. Just to neutralize and say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. But it's not about being sorry. It's just about trying to find a nice balance without having too many angles and edges in October. Because this starts, the cycle start. And this starts meaning whatever has been given birth to in September, this can escalate. This can become stronger. So unlike myself, there could have been many people with Virgo aspects in their chart, stelliums in their chart, which have started families or started commitments in September. If you've done that, that's a very interesting thing for you, because you might see that October either makes or breaks. And you might find that things either stick out or stick. And it would be very, very interesting to see how much of September pays you off and how much it doesn't, because that's another thing that can happen sometimes. We can start, for example, an exercise routine in September, think that's what we are, and then by October there is almost like nothing left of it, or there's only a little reminder of what we once had, so muscle melts off and just like the structure of the body changes again. So it might be really, really neat not to look too far ahead or try too far improve the cycle. Just try and neutralize it. Try to be in your heart. Try to be in your best of intentions. Try to be in the best situation of understanding what's happening with you, and try to be clear. Try to be clear on things. It's not so nice to rock the boat. If you are feeling trembling, like you missed an opportunity and you're kind of understanding, oh my God, like say my friend, my best friend, who I just wanted as a friend, is getting married, but I actually wanted them for myself, and you're like, oh my God, 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 I can feel that it could have been an opportunity, and you like knock down the door trying, it's not so good. So basically with people, even if you, for example, did something shitty and you want to apologize, in September is when it was at. And the next month or two, it's not going to be easy. So people are set. And to damage people further, to shake them up and be like, I'm sorry, listen to me, look, I need to fix this with you, is not so good. So, for example, you missed out on something, something's got closed up, something got said, something, thanks to you for many, many different reasons got changed in the world, something is connected, something got disconnected, something got approved, something got disapproved by you, and others as well as you. And it's not so bad. It is not so worth, though, to struggle or fight. It is basically the best now here to streak this out. It's almost like allow it to be just like a streak, and allow it to also, how can I say, become itself, or allow this new grounding to become itself without flaming about it, because we have now come to a really nice conclusion to the first half of the year. And to prove anything from the last half of the year is not good. It is just like we've got our crayons now, we've got our pencils, we've got whatever we discovered, and however much work we put into ourselves, and however much enlightenment that we've received through the purity of our souls, or through the mind, or through study, or through however you get it, or through physicality, or through sexuality, or through tantra, or through anything, through music, through dance, through romance, through however much, through laughter, better laughter. However much you received is here, and it is so good now to continue it and to try to mask nothing. Oh, I never said this. Oh, I'm so sorry, but that's not... No. You don't have to mask anything. So basically the conclusion set, and now is the next part of the year. So enjoy what you got. The best part is, if you in September created for yourself a service by servicing another person, if you said some new words, if you created some new light, if you've created resonance, if you really tried in your heart of hearts to reach out, if you really wanted to know something new, brace yourself. Because sometimes by trying and trashing your time, like, oh, I need to do something, occasionally it does happen and it creates a cycle, but it might not be what you like. You might get too much work to enjoy your time, but the money comes. Or unless you are kind of like a little bit crazy, maybe like me, say for example, you walk outside and you just walk for the sake of it, and you're trying to get fresh air and you end up exercising and like gaining momentum. If you are expanded through September and you did things just because you wanted to, it might start a really nice healthy cycle, and then in 2 or 3 years you might be incredibly strong, incredibly in alignment with your physical form. But that is something that is likely, but it is not likely to change if you don't invest into it. So see what comes and what stays, what leaves, what becomes, what solidifies as part of your fractals, and what does not. And thank you. So don't worry about it. Whatever you've done in the last month is great. And thank you so much for contributing to us all with your psyche and with what you've come to be. And we love you for it. So thank you very much, Virgo. Enjoy your time and connect more. And I hope it's a wonderful start of the year. I hope that by the end of December, you've got a lot of monetary gain and a lot of monetary luck. And stay faithful. Thank you so much. Enjoy your October, and if you'd like a reading or know more about me, I'll put myself in the caption below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.